What's the deal with King Shark? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now, this is a tie-in comic book series to the infamous show, The Flash. Some of these issues are considered canon, and some of them aren't considered canon. This particular storyline was considered canon until they introduced King Shark into the actual show and rewrote his origins. So as it stands now, this is a fun, alternate take on the King Shark character. Our story begins with Barry at the beach running some tests with Caitlin and Cisco. Turns out Barry's super speed has also made him a super swimmer. After swimming so fast that he causes a tidal wave washing up most of the ocean life onto the beach, Barry gets a call from his day job that he's needed to go look over the two bodies that they found. He runs back to Central City to meet up with Joe and Eddie asks him why he smells like sunblock and why are his clothes wet. Barry tells him that he was at the gym pumping iron, and he also did a lot of press benching. You mean bench pressing? Exactly! As Barry takes a look at the body, Joe mentions that the bodies all look like some animal tore them to shreds. Eddie asks if it could have been a pack of wolves, but as Barry looks closer, he tells them that they are looking at something that is a lot bigger than a pack of wolves. He brings the marks to Star Labs, where they discover that the marks were actually made by a shark. The next day, Barry gets a call about another murder, and this time it was at Brighton Labs. He heads over to find Gavin DeMarco, the latest victim, who was also the lead researcher at the Brighton Medical Facility. As Barry is looking over the body, Joe asks if it was a meta-human. Barry tells him that he thinks it was a meta-animal. Barry goes back to Star Labs to have Cisco access Dr. DeMarco's files, and the crew learns that Dr. DeMarco is performing genetic experiments on sharks. The project was actually dated a year ago, during the time that the particle accelerator exploded. You know, the particle accelerator that gave everyone their powers in this universe. Barry realizes that one of the scientists was probably turned into a meta-human shark. So he begins to think about this even further, and considering that DeMarco was a target, any member of the team on that project could be next. Because Barry can't be in 4 places at once, he takes Caitlin, Cisco, and Joe to all of the places where the remaining scientists are. They're each going to watch one of the scientists. With everyone in place, they all begin to check back in and report their status, and that's when Cisco hears something going on at the aquarium. He calls up Barry, telling him that he needs to hurry, but by the time Barry gets there, he finds a shark beast eating a penguin. Cisco tries to hide so Barry can deal with it, and is kind of working until he gets a phone call, which kind of points him out. The man shark goes over to bite down on Cisco, but just before he can, Barry runs in to push Cisco out of the way, getting himself bitten. The shark doesn't release its grip, so Cisco tells Barry to start punching it in the nose, and Barry does that, but it's not working! That's a lie! So he shocks the shark, getting his arm free, and then Cisco tells Barry to get him into the water. Barry begins to run past the man shark and push him down into the water. He then begins to run and shock the water, while Cisco throws an extension cord into the water, electrocuting the man shark. But before they can capture him, he jumps out of the water and escapes through the window. Barry suggests that maybe they should go after it, but Cisco tells him no. The first thing they need to do is get his arm patched up. Later at Star Labs, Caitlin begins to stitch Barry up, but while doing that, Barry gets a call from Joe back at the station telling him that they finally managed to ID the man shark, and he needs to head over here as soon as he can. At the station, the captain begins to tell everyone that they've identified the man as Shay Lambton. The captain then notices that Barry's arm is bleeding, and that's when Joe jumps in telling him that he cut it on a rusty desk this morning. But before long, Eddie comes running and telling everyone that they just got a 911 call near Christina Lambton's apartment. Over at the apartment, the man shark begins to tear through some trash when 3 people appear before him. The first man throws a boomerang, but the shark just ends up biting through it. Then the female of the group shoots an arrow that breaks apart into a net containing the man shark. Then from the shadows, Joe appears telling them to step away from the man shark, and who exactly are these people? The man with the gun tells him that they are the Suicide Squad, and Joe tells them that they need to drop their weapons, but Deadshot tells him that they can't. That would really make their boss angry. The 3 individuals are Digger Harkness, codenamed Captain Boomerang, Floyd Lawton, codenamed Deadshot, and Carrie Cutter, codenamed Cupid. Cupid suggests that maybe they should take Joe with them, but that's when Boomerang says they should probably just kill him, and all 3 of them fire their weapons. But before they can hit Joe, Barry appears, stopping all 3 of the attacks. Then, without much other choice, Barry picks up Joe and escapes with him. Barry looks down at the arrow, and he feels like this arrow is very familiar, but for now, they're just gonna have to get back to the labs. And back at Star Labs, Joe tells everyone that they just ran into people calling themselves the Suicide Squad, and that's when Harrison asks what do they want with the Shark Man. Cisco steps in, letting everyone know that he is now going to be referred to as King Shark. Jaws was already taken. Barry mentions that they need to go find King Shark, and Cisco begins working on looking through the city surveillance. Harrison tells Cisco that that is probably a good idea, but while he's checking on that, what do they know about this Suicide Squad? Barry tells Harrison that he may know someone that could give them the answers. So he goes off to see Oliver, the Green Arrow, to see if he can get any information about the people that he ran into. And Oliver tells him that he's busy. Felicity overhears Oliver talking to Barry, so she connects herself to Barry's communication frequency and tells him that the archer he ran into is named Cupid. She's kind of obsessed with Oliver. Barry says that she is with a group calling themselves the Suicide Squad, and Oliver tells him that whatever they want, Barry should leave them alone. But Oliver stops him as the man that he was looking for shows up, and after he and Barry capture the criminal, they head back to Oliver's hideout. Oliver and Felicity explain that the group that they ran into has come from Argus, and they are very dangerous and they are crazy ex-criminals. But Oliver continues on stating that Argus is also a very dangerous group led by Amanda Waller. The thing is that they are efficient and very ruthless, and they will be expecting Barry. So Barry leaves and heads over to the Argus detention facility and sneaks in while a guard enters the building. Cisco is trying to direct Barry where to go, but as he attempts to enter a secured area, an alert goes off and drones begin to fire on him. Outside, Cisco and Caitlin release a shockwave and they demagnetize the drones, saving Barry. But as Barry enters the room where King Shark should be, the doors shut behind him. Amanda Waller appears and Barry asks where did they take Loveland to, and she tells him not to worry. He'll be working with them from now on. King Shark is on the Suicide Squad. Right now, he is with the other members of the Suicide Squad across the country about to take down their next target. But that's not what she wanted to tell him. Barry tells her that she's treating King Shark like a monster, having him do their killing for them. And Amanda tells him that maybe he should join Argus. He might not be cutthroat enough for their methods, but don't go beating himself up about that. Amanda then goes on to tell him that he has plenty of time to think about her offer, because she's gonna leave him in the cell. Barry radios back to Cisco telling him that he needs to open up the cell doors for him, and Cisco tells him that it's going to be a bit. Argus is kind of a hard place to hack into. But a few moments later, the gate does open up, and Barry tells Cisco that he knew he could do it, and that's when over the frequency, Felicity tells him that it was actually her, and she thinks Oliver is now going to kill her for helping Barry. Once Barry gets outside, he begins to run towards Coast City, the place where the Suicide Squad is set to kill their target. And over in Coast City, the squad has already captured their target, and King Shark is about to eat him. But as he's about to chomp down, the Flash appears, grabbing the man and freeing him. As they run away, everyone begins to open fire on Barry, and Deadshot asks him, does he have any idea what he's just done? Amanda then radios into Deadshot to check in on their status, and Deadshot tells her that Barry just came in to release the target. Amanda then transmits over to Barry's frequency, telling him that she supposes he feels proud for helping that man, but just know that he just released one of the most dangerous terrorists in the world, and now innocent people are going to die on his watch. Barry radios back to Cisco, telling him that they're gonna need his help, and Cisco says, we? And Barry asks Cisco, how would he feel about a team up with the Suicide Squad? Minutes later, Cisco is working with Amanda Waller, going through all of their intel on the man that they were looking for. A short time later, they find him. Barry and the Suicide Squad get ready to head out, but before leaving, Deadshot shoots Barry with a tranq dart, and when Barry asks him why, Boomerang tells him that he's a liability, so they can't have him mucking up the mission again. Barry begins to fall to the ground, and Deadshot tells him that they have 6 minutes to get to the location before the bomb goes off, so they need to hurry. But once they get there, the terrorist has already predicted that they're gonna come after him, and he set an ambush for the Suicide Squad as soon as they enter. However, they manage to make short work of the ambush, and they easily take out the terrorist thugs. He then throws a smoke bomb down, hiding the ticking bomb, and he escapes, getting away from the Suicide Squad. But with seconds left, Barry shows up out of nowhere, running in there, picking up the bomb, and then he runs outside of the building to the highest point that he can get to, and he throws it up just as it explodes. Downstairs, the terrorist starts to leave the building, but Barry runs back down and punches him, knocking him out cold. As they tie the terrorists up, Barry tells everyone that the mission was a success, but now Loveland is free to go. Deadshot tells him that he's not going anywhere, and Cupid says that Amanda injected him with a neurotoxin, and only she has the cure. She needed some extra incentive to make sure that things got done. Barry thinks about it and decides that that's not a problem. He can be in and out of Argus in a second, but Loveland stops him and tells him no. Loveland, King Shark, says that he wants to stay. He's a freak and he belongs here with the squad. Boomerang says that's a trite insulting, and Deadshot says that he wants to be one of them, and Cupid tells him not to worry. They'll take care of King Shark. As the squad walks off, Barry thinks about how after the explosion, not everyone was so lucky, but at least Loveland has found a purpose, even if it's a little suicidal. And that is part 2 of the 0 year for the Flash. Now keep in mind, these stories are supposedly happening in the first year of the Flash, 0 year, and this one isn't actually canon because they've already retconned the King Shark and the Suicide Squad stuff, but it's still a fun story of Barry Allen teaming up with the Suicide Squad. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know in the comments down below if you want more Suicide Squad related content. We're getting ready to do a bunch more of their stories, but if you want more than just the storyline and you want more origins and stuff like that, let me know, we can start working on it. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian, and check out our manga channel, Comicstorian, where we give you manga every Monday and Friday. Have you been looking for Attack on Titan maybe?